Let's go, baby. We got the Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez fight, man, coming August 12th. You know, this new the new Afghan guy. I don't know if he's Afghanistan, he's Iranian or whatever he is, man, but he's putting his money where his mouth is, man, and he's bringing us nothing but action-packed fights with nothing but name fighters. He putting money up to where these fighters cannot deny the money, and they taking these fights, man. They want the money. They taking these risky fights, man. So we got Canelo Alvarez facing Bud Crawford. Bud, the two-time unified world champion, man. Bud Crawford is a definitely a threat. He a threat to Canelo Alvarez. I'm not saying he gonna beat Canelo, but he's a threat. Now, you got Canelo Alvarez, man. He's been on top for a minute, but a lot of people try to sit back and knock Canelo because they say Canelo really ain't been fighting nobody. But you got to give Canelo Alvarez credit. He been fighting who's out there. He has some bigger names he could have fought, but I mean, Canelo been kind of like calculate getting his money. So it's kind of like, you know what, why fight dude for 50 million when I can fight somebody I know I can whoop for 35? But then, now this is a legacy fight. See, one thing you got to realize about boxing, you can knock Canelo for the people that he fought, but one thing about boxing, eventually you're going to have to fight a dog. Unless you're just going to retire out the sport, because eventually somebody's going to come along that is just the money's going to be too good for you not to take the risk. And like I say, Canelo Alvarez haven't been fighting nobody, man, but Canelo is talented. He's talented. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He lost, but best believe he learned something from that fight, man, and he's been moving forward ever since on the top. He lost a couple of little fights that you probably felt he shouldn't have lost, but at the same time, I believe Canelo Alvarez is taking Bud Crawford really serious, and he do not want to get humiliated by Bud Crawford, because that's what Bud will do. If he don't bring his A game, Bud Crawford will humiliate Canelo Alvarez. Now you got Bud Crawford. We seen Bud Crawford come off the Errol Spence Jr. fight. That was a big fight, a big build-up. A lot of people thought that Bud Crawford could win that fight, but they also thought Errol Spence Jr. was a problem. When Bud Crawford came through that fight flawless, he disrespected Errol Spence Jr. So we haven't really seen him have a major challenge, or is nobody out there that can really challenge him. Now, let's keep it solid. I felt like Boots Ennis was a problem, and I think that was a problem he didn't want to deal with. Now, Boots Ennis is young. He don't really got a lot of experience in big fights, so we can sit back and say to ourselves that Bud Crawford could have probably beat him just on experience. But like I say, this is a young champion. He got a chin on him. He a big boy. He real skilled. He just as fast as Bud, just as technically sound, and I felt like Bud Crawford knew he was going to be a problem. Now, Canelo Alvarez has some of the same skill set, but at the same time, I feel like the bag is so big, Bud is going to take the risk with him. The same money wasn't going to come off of Boots Ennis. He probably wasn't going to get half the money he would have got if he would have fought Boots. He know he getting some good money fighting Canelo, so he going to take this risk. And Canelo is not as technically sound as Boots Ennis. Canelo is good, but I say Boots Ennis, let's rank Boots Ennis skill set a 10. Canelo Alvarez is like a 9.25. He right up under him. So I mean the same risk is there, but Bud probably feeling in his heart that 9.25 plus that bag they offering. I'ma take this risk. Bud is good. Bud is real good, but Bud is getting up in years. Canelo is bigger. He got power, and Bud gonna have to be on his A game, because Canelo Alvarez is not no walkthrough. Bud Crawford game is not the same as Floyd Mayweather's. Bud is good, but he don't have the same footwork as Floyd. Bud is good, but he don't have the same jab as Floyd. Bud is good, but he's not as quick as Floyd Mayweather. So we can't sit back and say, oh, just because Bud is a black boxer, he going to beat Canelo Alvarez. That ain't the case in boxing, bro. Canelo is not no scrub. I'm telling you that right now. The boy ain't no scrub. That Mexican can fight, bro. He got combinations. He got quick hands. He can move around. He a thinker. And I best believe he is not trying to get humiliated by Bud Crawford, man. I promise you, he do that, he gonna take a real backpedal with the type of money he getting for his fights, because this is a huge fight right here. Even though he got a huge following, even if he loses this fight, he's still gonna make a bag. But at the same time, man, he don't want to lose this fight, man. He gonna lose all his belts. Bud got the belts. He gonna have to move up in weight to bust another move or do something like that. They're gonna have to redirect his career if Bud beat him in this fight. So at the end of the day, I think that Canelo Alvarez is taking Bud serious. I believe he training 100%. And Bud Crawford is training 100% because for him, this is a major legacy fight. For Canelo Alvarez, this is a legacy fight, but at the end of the day, Bud don't have no belts in that weight division. So he's fighting for just straight respect and beating somebody that y'all could finally shut up and be like, okay, Canelo beat Bud Crawford if he pull off the win. You know, now, if I sit back and I look at the fight and I weigh it, I would say Bud gonna win the fight because Bud ain't never lost. Bud ain't never lost. You know what I mean? But if you look at the fight that Bud had with Gamboa, you know, Bud did get rocked against Gamboa. Now, is Canelo Alvarez just as fast as Gamboa? Not at all. Canelo not fast as Gamboa was back then. And he fought Gamboa when Gamboa was on a rise. Gamboa was a threat. But at the same time, we could say this. If Canelo hit Bud with some of them shots Gamboa was hitting him with, it might be over with. You know what I mean? He might rock Bud where Bud can't get back and hit him with a couple of more and have Bud staggered and the ref jump in and save Bud and it'd be a wrap. You know what I mean? But do I think Bud gonna let him get a clean shot on him like that? Probably late in the fight. If Canelo put his work in, and slow him down, Canelo might can get to him and get a shot or two on him decent enough to rock Bud and get Bud out of there. Now we could flip it and say Bud could hit Canelo with some shots and put his work in early in the fight and then mess around and catch Canelo slipping, hit him with a solid shot, daze Canelo, hit him with a couple more shots and had a ref had to step in there and say, Canelo, this is a 50-50 fight. It's hard to sway it in somebody else's favor. I mean, I could probably go 55-45 Bud, maybe 60-40 Bud, but then that if you say it's going to be 60-40 Bud Crawford, you really ain't giving Canelo no respect. You saying this dude is nowhere near good as Bud Crawford. And he is, bro. He wouldn't even be in this fight if he wasn't. It wouldn't be this much hype surrounding the fight if Canelo Alvarez was just a scrub and we felt like Bud Crawford was just about to walk over this dude. Everybody know this boy Canelo can fight. He can fight. He got a jab. He got combinations. His hands is quick and he move around the ring. He ain't no stagnated fighter. And like Floyd say, he ain't no one-trick pony, bro. He ain't no up and down fighter with no special effects. Come on, man. This boy got effects to it. He got jabs, uppercuts, right hands. He move around and he got character. You know what I mean? He got an ego. You know what I mean? And when you hit Canelo with a hard shot, Canelo come back. That's why I say it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a war, basically, because I ain't really never seen no situation where Canelo get hit with a solid, firm shot and he bow down. Usually Canelo come back with a put. Canelo come back. He come back with something. He don't really take that too kindly when he get hit with a solid shot. You know what I mean? And Bud don't either. So it could be a recipe for a classic. This could be a recipe for a classic. This could be one of them fights, if you remember boxing, this could be one of them fights when Timothy Bradley fought that Russian. I mean, you know, to this date, man, that's one of the most violentest brawls I've seen. You know, when Timothy Bradley fought that boy, don't quote me on his name. It started with a P or something like that. But if you know boxing and you've been watching boxing for years, you remember when Timothy Bradley fought that Russian. And that Russian hit Timothy Bradley, man, and Timothy was out there fighting like he was knocked out on his feet. But, man, Timothy Bradley showed heart, grit. He showed it all that night and pulled off the victory. So, you know, but this is about Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, man. I think Bud Crawford is going to squeeze out a victory. I think it's going to be 2 rounds to 1, a split decision. Bud probably going to win the fight by 2 rounds. It's going to be, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being a draw. You know what I mean? Because like I say, I don't think it's going to be a knockout. I don't think Bud going to knock him out. I don't think Canelo going to knock Bud out. I to be honest with you, if there is going to be a knockout in the fight, I'd more say Bud and knock Canelo out. Canelo just ain't on his A game. Bud hitting him with too many shots. Bud too sharp and calculated, too slick. He's setting traps that Canelo ain't seeing. Bud just hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. And Canelo get late in the fight and realize, man, he ain't going to win the fight. He taking too much punishment, and he going to catch a clean one and just going to go down, man, and take a knee and just let them count him out. You know, that's the only way I could see it, man. I don't see him knocking him out cold. I don't see Canelo getting knocked out cold, but I see Bud possibly being able to stop him. It get stopped by the referee or something like that if Bud beating him too bad, because it's a possibility Bud beat the brakes off this boy. You know, it's a possibility because Bud, to me, Bud is one of them fighters that when he get in big fights like this, he want to make a statement. So like I say, the Canelo and Bud Crawford fight is going to be September 12th on Netflix. I'm for sure watching the fight. Y'all need to tune in. This is one of the biggest fights, the biggest fight in boxing right now. And I got Bud Crawford winning this fight by decision or a blowout and a stoppage by the referee by knockout. This is the Aaron L. Show. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to build this channel up. Share this video. Help your boy get this channel popping. Like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all. If y'all watch the whole video all the way through, I'll be back at you with another one.